Biz podcast with the NMLA. We have some incredible content lined up for you with this podcast that we're going to be delivering industry updates, insights that boat dealers need to be aware of, opportunities that dealers can take advantage of, and our favorite part here at the NMLA, actionable ideas that you can implement. First and foremost priority for us in everything that we do here at the NMLA is to deliver on our mission. And that mission is really to recognize that if our industry is going to be successful, our dealers have to be successful. So we drive the success of our dealers. It's something we're very passionate about here. And the way that we look at things around here, it's always a great time to be in the boat biz. All right, welcome everybody. Matt Gruen here with the Boat Biz Podcast. This week I'm in Park City, Utah, where the National Marine Lenders Association is hosting its 2022 annual conference. I'm excited about the fact that I've had the chance to record now 2 different podcasts while I've been at this event. I just feel like this organization is such a critical element to the success of our dealers, and it really is a priority of mine and everybody's at MRA's to attend this event each year, support the National Marine Lenders Association. And lucky for me, they host their conference at some pretty extraordinary venues around the country. Now, the National Marine Lenders Association is a membership organization just like the MRAA is, and the NMLA's members are mostly banks and loan origination and service companies, credit unions, and the mission of this organization is to educate lenders in marine financing procedures, promote the extension of credit to consumers and trade borrowers, measure and report on the vitality of the marine lending market, and also to actively maintain networking and communication benefits for its members. So a lot of the similar things that MRAA does for its members, NMLA does for its members. I'm joined here today by a longtime friend and partner in this industry, the president of the NMLA, Mr. John Haymond. John, welcome.
Thank you, Matt. It's an honor and pleasure to talk about marine and boating and banking. Yes. I'm excited about all of that. So,
what a great place to be here in Park City as well.
Yeah, we're actually in Deer Valley, which is above Park City, and it's a beautiful place. It's in the low 70s and sunny, and you couldn't ask for better weather and better location.
And you've joked a couple times while we've been here from the stage that you finagled your way to get the conference here in your home state.
Right. Most of the time I don't get a lot of say on what goes on, as you know, as the president of the board. But I pushed pretty hard to get it off the ocean and get it into the mountains, and we it seems to be taking. We have 185 attendees that are here. We've got 79 different companies represented, lending companies. We have 6 new members of the National Marine Lenders Association, and we have almost 50 new attendees for the conference. So it's a good venue and it's a good location, and so far a very good conference.
That's awesome.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah, no, I love being here. I love coming to this event every year. I think last year St. Simon's Island in Georgia.
In Georgia.
Ocean Reef one time, Napa one time. I just love coming to this conference and catching up with all of you, and bringing it to Utah is a win for everybody. Yeah. I know, it was a personal thing for you to bring it to your home state, but it's a win for everybody.
Yeah.
Why don't you kick us off today with a little bit on your personal background? Are you a boater? Do you have other hobbies that you partake in?
I'm an outdoor guy. I've skied for 50 years, snow skied. I love hiking and hunting and camping and boating. Utah has some great water, freshwater lakes. I do a lot of fishing on pontoon boats and fishing boats. A lot of trout, brown trout, even some salmon that have been planted here. But Utah is a great outdoor state, recreation state. There's a lot of boating here, despite the fact that we're in a drought and it's in the west. So I do like boating. I don't currently own a boat, but we have in the past. We currently do RVing, and we have a trailer that we do. So
very nice.
But it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. Utah is like the epitome of the outdoor recreation states.
It's a great state.
Yeah, love it. How about on the professional side of things? You've been with Medallion for quite some time now. Tell us a little bit about how you got where you are today.
Sure. Professionally, I started subprime marine lending back in 1991 with a bank called American Investment Financial. And we were an FDIC chartered bank. We were in Salt Lake City. And to my knowledge, there was no one doing subprime lending for recreation products at that time. There was the auto industry subprime had started up probably 3-4 years before that in the 80s, late 80s. But we started in Utah, and then we got licensed in Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and Idaho. And those were the first 4 states we started doing subprime or non-prime loans in. I should mention Medallion Bank is primarily a non-prime lender. We have a niche, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But that's where I started. I've always been in lending, and I started working on direct loans and indirect loans through American Investment Financial back in '91. So I've been with Medallion now 16 years. They've been doing this business about 19 years, and they basically bought the portfolio from American Investment Financial, Medallion did, and brought some of the people over to run it.
Wow, that's fascinating.
So it's great.
Yeah. Well, so you referenced it a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Medallion and the niche that they serve and that sort of thing.
Good. Yeah, Medallion has focused almost exclusively on non-prime, even subprime. We do have rates that are available for even prime customers. As you know, a lot of the prime banks, they don't like financing former bankrupt customers. We love former bankrupts. We think that they have some good disposable income. And but our niche is primarily this non-prime, near-prime, subprime. We're seasoned at underwriting that. We have a number of underwriters that 10 plus years of experience. Medallion's got our good niche, and we're consistent in the market, and we enjoy it. We love financing fun.
Yeah, that's great. So a lot of our listeners will be dealers, right?
Correct.
So tell the dealers a little bit about what's the significance in the marine marketplace. What's the significance of subprime and non-prime lending?
I would say that, not to speak for the prime lenders, but as president of the NMLA, I do hear what's going on the prime side as well as the subprime. But most of the prime banks, for the most part, don't usually buy below a 700 FICO score. Just so that the audience is aware, about half the country has FICO scores below 700.
Right.
So there's certainly a market there for individuals and families that want to recreate and to want to go boating, to go fishing. There needs to be a finance need or a finance option for them, and we provide that. Obviously, we're not financing a lot of big boats. Our max loan only goes up to $100,000, but if you start to look at a payment amount at a 14 or 15.95 rate at $100,000, even if it's 20 years out, it becomes a little steep. So,
yeah, right.
But we do provide that option. Most of our portfolio that we're buying or financing is used, because the new boat market is so high right now with the values. But it's a big market. We love doing it, and our dealers are very pleased with our product for the most part. We provide excellent customer service and an excellent opportunity for them to finance units. We do go out as old as 20 years on boats, so that's a benefit for the dealers also.
That's great. So tell me about the dealer market and how they've participated in the subprime market. Are you seeing growing numbers of those types of dealers?
We do. It's been an educational process. I would say back in 20 years ago when we were doing this, a lot of dealers were of the opinion, we don't need you. Our customers are not like that.
Right.
Our customers either paying cash or and everyone's got a 750 plus FICO score. Certainly that's changed in the markets. Dealers are very much more savvy in understanding that, hey, we want to sell a boat to every customer that comes in. Medallion allows them a lot more leeway to do that. And our average, I probably not ought to tell you, but we average substantially lower in the FICO band, mid 600s. And that would be something entirely foreign to a prime bank. So.
Right.
But the dealers enjoy our service. We get a lot of good feedback. We're very prompt at funding loans, same day or next day, and that's a real plus in the market too nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. So we're hearing a lot here at the event about the last 2 years and how great the last 2 years have been. And we heard Chad Lyon from Wells Fargo this morning present on the number of first-time boat buyers that have come into the marketplace. Have you seen a significant growth in the business with all these new people coming into the boat business and trying to get into boating and that sort of thing? Have you seen that uptick as well?
We have, especially with buyouts and boat groups and stuff. We're a little concerned about the smaller boat dealers, the mom and pop, lack of inventory. We have a number of dealers that no longer sell boats. They service them and repair them. And that breaks our hearts a little bit, but they have not been able to get the inventory over the last 2 years, and you can only stay open so long. So that's been a concern for us. I've addressed that with several of the marine industry, Frank Hugelmeyer and others, and they're aware of that. But it's part of the nature of our economy and what's going on now. But overall, the market remains very strong, especially with larger dealers that have the staying power and are getting inventory. We talked today with NADA. They came and presented, and they talked about the outboard market being less of a delay for deliveries, and there's been some improvement there with the 3 or 4 manufacturers that make outboard motors. So that's a positive sign. I know that's been a real problem with chips and motors.
Yeah, it feels like we're kind of entering into that post-pandemic marketplace. Right. Things are starting to correct a little bit.
We are, and we're definitely seeing that over the last couple of months. The slowing in the fall and even the 2 weeks before school starts, that's stuff that we noticed in 2019 and 18 and 17, and then we'll have a real push during Labor Day weekend, and then it'll start to slow again through December until the show starts. So we're definitely seeing back to normal norms in the finance side and the boat sales side.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch
how
it all goes. Well, so you've been an incredible leader for Medallion. You have been very active in the marketplace. You exhibit at Dealer Week, for example. You participate in the annual American Boating Congress. And of course, you're not just a board member of the NMLA, you are the president and the leader of the organization right now. Why is it so important to you? Why is it so important to Medallion that you stay so active in the industry?
Medallion doesn't have a lot of lending products. We're not a traditional bank. We have 2, 3, 4 lending products at the most. When we get into a product, we're 100% into it. We believe in the marine industry. We also service other parts of the recreation industry, recreation portfolio. We're involved heavily in the home improvement loans. We have a healthy offset. They're super prime and prime loans, and the recreation side is near prime, non-prime, subprime. So they offset each other. We have other partnerships we work on with strategic partnering. But when the bank gets involved, management is very supportive of the employees. They're supportive of the industry. They've recognized that I have some ability to have advocacy with Senate and congressional leaders and go and push for boating issues. They recognize the value of MRAA and NMLA, all of the associations. We kind of want to be a good citizen in the industry, so I'm kind of the point person, my staff and I, but really the success of the bank relies on all of our people, the lean perfection people, the collectors, the processors, the underwriters, but management is real supportive of being engaged with the industries that we're in financing.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I know you're talking, you said the success of the bank depends on some of this as well, but I also, I looked at your LinkedIn profile and that sort of thing, and I see on there you actually have a long history of volunteering, and not always in the marine industry as well. Tell us why that's so important, why you feel it's important to give back, why you volunteer, why you participate in like the board of the NMLA and other areas you volunteer.
My life has always been a life of giving, and I like serving others. I think it's healthy mentally and emotionally to serve others, and whether it's business related or whether it's humanitarian, or I also serve on a couple of committees and have been a board president for a local nonprofit housing organization in Salt Lake, and I devoted 2 years of my life to humanitarian issues and teaching people about Christian things as a member of my church. So I gave 2 years up and at my expense and went and did that. So my life is really focused on trying to support things that I believe in and things that are good. And you know what? People may think, well, gosh, you're charging high rates on, but you know what? These people, they like to boat too.
Right.
And they deserve a right to boat. And if we can put them in a boat and they can go fishing with their family members and it's in their budget, it's awesome.
Right.
It's awesome. So I have given a lot to different roles, and I enjoy that though. And the marine industry is no different.
Right.
I like serving.
Right. Well, and I can say as a staff member of a nonprofit, thank you for volunteering and for giving back and supporting your industry. I know how critical it is to MRAA that we have volunteers, board members, committee members, so on and so forth. I know the success of NMLA is largely dependent upon the volunteers, the board members. You, in fact, have been very active, playing an active role in helping to orchestrate this conference, other events that NMLA puts on, and really steering the direction of the organization. Tell us really kind of how your role there has evolved over the years, and I know that being a board president requires a lot of effort. I know it, I see it, I watch my board chairs do that as well. Why is that something that you've chosen to pursue?
First of all, I like the people. I like developing relationships. My job is a business development officer at the bank. And so as you develop relationships, not only with partners that are going to help you originate loans, but as you develop in the industry and the networking, it makes you a good citizen in the industry as a whole. And overall, it looks good for the bank. It looks good for my department as we grow and progress and prosper the loans and the portfolio and the program. So, if all you did was focus on, trying to develop individual clients, I don't think that is as productive or as prosperous as developing the industry.
Right.
So the more we're involved in the industry, the more we can say, hey, we not only like you as our partner and dealer, we love the marine industry and we do everything we can to support it.
Right. It's interesting as I listen. So this is the 4th podcast that I've recorded, and every one of my guests, and yourself included now, have mentioned relationships and the importance of the relationships. Is that I think our speaker this morning, Eric, spoke this morning. He talked about the power of relationships and how relationships have transformed a little bit over the COVID environment and so forth. But in this marine industry in particular, I've always felt like the relationships are what drives the business.
Right.
Why is that?
Because it takes a partnership to create these loans. I mean, you probably think, hey, your customer is the person that you're originating loans to. No, it's not. My actual customer is the finance manager at a dealership, or it's the underwriters at a service company. It's not the owners. It's one guy that's got a job in a dealership, and he's really my customer. He's the one that I train about the loan programs. He's the one that's ultimately going to either send us applications or not. So as you work hard to identify who your real client is, and granted it is the dealerships as a whole, but really the person that you're interacting with on a day-to-day basis is that finance manager.
Yeah.
And that's the same for any bank.
Right.
But the relationship part, it's got to be more than even electronic.
Right.
I mean, a text here or an email there works, but to not be involved in the shows, to not be involved with the MRAA and seeing your dealers, showing them the statistics, showing the owners the statistics that under their dealership, because they usually don't know the individual statistics. All of that brings value to the partnership, and that's what we create in Medallion Bank is partnerships.
Yeah, I love that.
So I like that,
Yeah.
and it has to be done face to face for the most part.
Right.
Pandemic was tough, but everyone was Zooming or teaming, but since then I've been active on the road now for a year and a half.
Right.
Trying to renew and rekindle those.
Right. Yeah. So our conversation so far, I've had a conversation with Liz Walls on our team. She talked a lot about the relationship that the association has with the members, whether they're the partners or the dealers. I talked with Ann Baldry, Buck Pegg at Chaparral Robalo Boats. They talked about the importance of the relationship that they have with their dealers and their vendors. I met with Chad Lyon from Wells Fargo on the wholesale side of finance, now with you on the retail side. It's so impressive to hear how everybody prioritizes those relationships and partnerships to make the business happen. I love that.
Another thing in the relationships too, the more you're involved with your partners, the dealers, the service companies, the more you understand what their needs are. And the bank has to do everything they can to understand the needs so that they can accommodate that in their programs. I mean, you can put together the best lending programs in the world, but if it's not meeting the needs of your partners, then you're not going to get used.
Right.
So my focus is to see what's going to work best for them, and then work with the systems, or work with the underwriting parameters, or work with the interest rates, or work with the extension of the loan terms to 20 years rather than 5 or 10 or 15. That's what makes good relationships.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So let's shift back a little bit to the role of board president. I work with a chair, which would be the same position as the board president in NMLA's case. And every 2 years, as one cycles out, I have a conversation with an incoming board chair and ask them, what's your vision? What's your mission? What would you like to accomplish over the next 2 years? And the answers there have always impressed me, like what their vision for what they would like to stamp on the dealer body and so forth. Some of them are, I have a very specific goal. Some of them are, I just want to leave the organization in a better place than I found it. Did you have a specific goal that you came into NMLA president role with?
I had a couple of goals. We had a very long running board. We had a lot of board members that had done a great job for a number of years. We'd get a lot of comments sometimes about, we need to mix it up a little. So one of my goals has been to add new lenders, new experts as board members. We've increased and advanced our technology, our website. In fact, we copied MRAA from their previous website to, because of the good recommendation that you guys gave, we've adopted that, and it will go live here in 2-3 weeks. That's been a real benefit. We've implemented a new department or committee that is promoting future marine lenders. And they're heavily involved in our lending workshop and in our conference and in other aspects, the technology, the marketing side. So we're involving all these people that are not board members, but they're interested in supporting the industry, and they're giving of their time. And we're grateful for the corporations that are supporting them too, the banks and credit unions and service companies. So I wanted to promote new blood. Yeah. I wanted to promote technology. And I wanted to build the membership base, and it's been building every year for the last 3 years. So, and that's not just me; that's the whole board. Those are our strategic goals: is to really focus on those three things.
Great. This event really helps to shine a light on all of that, right? It gives you a place to bring in new people. You said you have almost 50 new people here that are here for the first time. It gives you the opportunity to give back to your membership so that the membership continues to grow. Just give our listeners a little bit of an overview of what this event is all about and why it's so critical to the health of the marine lending industry.
Two most critical events, and I would hold them equally important. The first is education. We had two good speakers today. A motivational speaker about better business practices, and then the second one was equally good. A wholesale finance, Wells Fargo talked to us about trends and economic trends and stuff. And then we had 4 good breakout sessions about lean perfection, about systems issues for generating documents. We had Nate, as I mentioned, come and talk about projected loan values and what that will be. So education is critical. Last night we had a reception out at a big common area, and there was close to 200 marine lenders or support people there. It's literally the biggest networking event. It mirrored the MRAA networking back in Austin last fall, as far as the number of people there. It was an awesome opportunity to talk to people about the industry, to interact. There's a lot of service companies there. There's a lot of lenders there. It's a way to talk and discuss business and promote business and understand business. And so those two things are key, networking and education.
Well, and the networking goes right back to the relationships.
It does.
Right? I mean, the development of those relationships and building and being able to go back and continue to build the business in partnership with another company or individual.
Everybody like me had just as dry a throat as everyone else. By the time I got done, I was talked out.
Yeah.
So,
it was great.
It was.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about partnership between MRA and NMLA over the years, and we've developed a much stronger relationship with regard to NMLAs at our event. We're here at this event, we're participating, and we're helping to communicate the opportunities that are here and providing some insights on what's going on in the dealer market. There's so much expertise that I feel like your members could share with our members, and vice versa. If you would, just talk a little bit about the value that dealers would find in participating here with the NMLA and coming to this event, maybe in coming to the workshops, those types of things. You talked about your ultimate customer is the finance manager at the dealership, right? And I know that goes for a lot of the people here. How do we continue to strengthen the relationship, and what would the dealers really find out by being here and being a part of the Lenders Association?
That's a good question. We at our workshop, we probably have as many as 60% of the audience are service companies, underwriters, or service company lien perfection experts, or service company processing managers that are all at that workshop learning about those aspects and those prospects of the marine industry. Well, dealerships have the same individuals that have responsibilities under those areas. They need to understand lien perfection if they don't have that expertise, or if they're not hiring it out. They certainly have underwriters that their F&I managers need to understand underwriting. So even though the workshop is geared towards more of a service company, dealers could benefit very much, especially larger dealer groups where you have multiple F&I managers in a large store. They would get a lot of benefit. And that's something that we ought to consider too. Maybe we look at expanding some of our aspects of our workshop with the MRAA breakout sessions, and we get a couple of experts, marine lenders, to do more there.
Yeah.
So that's something that we ought to explore more and discuss more.
I think any opportunities like that we can continue to explore, because as we go into this post-pandemic marketplace and get further into it, we're seeing interest rates are rising. Yep. We're seeing there's going to be a lot of different things happening in this market, and having the ability to pair up our dealers and our lenders working side by side, working more closely together, everybody wins in that scenario. And
a lot of dealers buy repossessed or units in auctions. We have expertise in repossession and recovery. We're going to have expertise in auction values because we're the ones selling the units. As we go into possibly a more difficult economy, most of our speakers have been talking about that over the next year or so. Losses will increase, but the dealers would benefit from knowing what the values are, knowing how to work an auction or how to bid on a boat. And those are things that the workshop provides too, information on that. So.
Right. So the URL for the Marine Lenders website is just simply marinelenders.org. I would recommend any of our dealers or anybody else out there listening to this podcast check it out and see what the organization has to offer. The expertise that they have is great for our industry and can help our businesses continue to grow. So one of the goals of this podcast is to really help the dealers understand. That's why we're talking about this relationship and how the lenders and the dealers can work better together. But we really want to help dealers understand how they should continually evolve their business, to give them insights that they need in order to make good, informed, educated decisions. What trends are you seeing out in the marketplace today that you feel like dealers should be aware of?
They have to be on board with e-docs and electronic signatures. They have to be on board with people shopping from their iPad on their couch, finding the unit that they're going to want, and financing that unit. That is the biggest trend in the last 5 years that I'm noticing. We've seen a number of our service companies that used to be exclusively dealer support finance. They've completely gone away from that, and they're doing nothing but developing robust websites for financing. So in my opinion, the biggest trend change, and it's already hitting the auto industry and a lot of others for installment loans, but you need to have the ability to close loans electronically, remotely. You need to have a good website that shows your inventory, has walkthrough videos. People are going to want to see the units that they're going to finance. Have the ability to have your salespeople be contacted and do a walkthrough and discussion on the product. All of that, if you're not doing that, that's That's critical.
Yeah. We saw a movement to more digital prior to the pandemic. Right. And then the pandemic shows up in mid-March, and it's like everything is digital.
Yeah.
And then you have to be. And so I know we've had a lot of conversation over the last couple of years related to the e-signatures and electronic documentation and so forth. Are you seeing more banks offering that? Are you seeing more opportunities for dealers to engage in those electronic documentation and so forth?
I am. A lot of the banks have been slow to adopt that. Medallion Bank has been doing e-docs and e-signatures for about 3 years now on our systems. It's easy. You just log into our website and you can create an e-document. You really expand your market by providing that technology. Especially if you're in a rural community, you may have customers that are shopping 200-300 miles away. To be able to have them close remotely and still add back-end products and warranties and stuff, that's just really an advantageous opportunity for the dealerships.
Yeah, and I think it's a great opportunity for them to continue to grow and improve their operations.
And as you know, the Gen Z and Gen Xers, they're all about shopping online, and purchasing online. So that's the biggest improvement and or change that I'm seeing.
Right. So what about looking forward? As we look forward, I know it's hard to have a crystal ball and say what's going to happen and that sort of thing, but where should dealers be watching for indicators on how to manage their business? If they're looking at the market volatility with the stock market, if they're looking at the interest rates, inflation, whatever it might be, are there specific areas where you watch to kind of gauge how the business is going to evolve going forward?
Yeah, we obviously interest rates have an impact on the business. I learned from two different sources today that gasoline prices do not have much of an impact on the recreation side.
Right.
I think for a couple of reasons. Usually people that are purchasing boats or trailers have a little bit more disposable income, and it's not as great as impact. But interest rates will have an impact, maybe not so much on the payments, although it does, but really on consumer confidence.
Right.
As we hear so much stuff in the press about recession and about inflation, and most people don't know what those really mean, but the press plates it up like it's the end of the world, and it's not.
Right.
The Fed's working to control it. It's something that banks recognize, but consumer confidence is one of the biggest things. Dealers need to be aware of what their local customers are about, and you know what? They can build up positive things. They look for sales. They look for opportunities to promote things. They can run promotionals with banks, contact your bank, say, hey, we want to run a promotional. Can you help us with that?
Right.
Whether it's a local bank or a credit union, we're always, I know at Medallion, we're always open and interested in helping our dealers accommodate more business.
Right. That's great. I love it. I'm pretty close to out of questions here. Why don't I maybe put you on the spot a little bit and give us a pitch on why companies should consider being a member of the National Marine Lenders Association?
If you're involved in the marine industry, especially with regards to finance, if you're involved in the collection of boats, or if you're involved in the legal aspects of boating or lien perfection, anything to do with boats, marine, even fishing, tournament fishing and stuff, there's just so much you can learn. We've got a major auto company that's coming into the business and looking at opportunities for financing fishing boats, of all things, or pontoon boats. And you look at that and you say, wow, they're all jumping in and they're saying, wow, we didn't know there was so much to learn and understand.
Right.
But that being said, it's an opportunity to promote very good business. The marine industry is a strong industry. It's got very good people that are involved with it, both from a consumer side as well as a business side. From that standpoint, it's a win-win from a business opportunity.
Right, and that's really back to the core purpose of our trade associations.
Right.
People want to be educated on everything they need to know about the industry. The National Marine Lenders Association provides that.
So does MRAA.
Yeah.
Both of us. We work on that.
We work really hard on doing that, for sure. John, this has been a great great conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know your phone's been blowing up over there. I know you've got a lot going on with this conference, and there's a lot left to do to wrap it up and make it successful the rest of the way through. For those of you out there listening to this podcast, I want to just say thank you for joining us. I recommend you stop by and say hi to John at the Dealer Week this year, December 5th through the 8th in Austin, Texas again. John will be there exhibiting for Medallion. The National Marine Lenders Association will also be there. I think stopping by and talking to them a little bit about what they can do to help you and support your business and help you continue to position yourself for success going forward would be a great opportunity for you to take advantage of. So thank you for your time. This has been the 4th episode of the Boat Biz Podcast. John, thanks again for joining me here today.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah,
it's an honor.
You bet. And we'll see you next time.